Merħba, il-programm huwa RASimbRAS, jiena Mario Xwireb. Illum se nitkellmu dwar is-sitwazzjoni fil-Lvant Nofsani, din il-gwerra li bdiet wara l-attakki traġiċi illi il-moviment Hamas għamel fuq Iżrael fis-7 ta' Ottubru illi għadda u mbagħad dak illi żvolġa wara. Miegħi llum RASimbRAS l-Ambaxxatur ta' Iżrael għal Malta, Zeev Boker. Thank you for being on our show, for accepting the invitation.
Thank you. Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here.
The tragic events of the 7th of October, well, they are condemnable, and the international community has condemned them as terrorist acts. And the international community has been four square behind Israel in its bid to chase and bring to justice the Hamas people who did this on the 7th of October. Since then, however, doubts have creeped into the minds of Western leaders because of the heavy-handedness that the IDF is using in Gaza. First of all, what is Israel trying to achieve with its prolonged military operation in Gaza?
Thank you very much. And I would like to take the opportunity and thanks UTV for hosting yesterday families of the abductees from Israel. We brought a delegation of members of the family of the abductees that were kidnapped cruelly by the Hamas on the 7th of October. And they had the privilege to meet the top leadership and also to be guest of UTV. And I'm glad the opportunity to be able to be here today. 7th of October was major massacre. Some people even compare it to the Holocaust, or mini Holocaust, that happened on the recognized borders of the State of Israel. The casualties were immense. The scars that were made on the Israeli society, it's something that will be very difficult to recover. Some of the members of the people that came with me yesterday or this week were from the most leftist part of the Israeli society, true believers in peace with the Palestinians. But the terrorist attack of 7th of October changed, unfortunately, their concept. Israel has stated from the beginning that, no country would be able not to react and to defend its citizens. Tens of thousands of Israelis were evacuated from the southern part of Israel. And our prime minister, our government has stated that the Hamas has to be eradicated military and politically.
And this is one of the stated aims of the military operation, to destroy Hamas. How close is Israel at getting there?
First of all, unfortunately, we are fighting for our existence from 1948, even before. And this, unfortunately, is a war that's continuing a long time. And myself, I had the privilege to work with late Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin. Yitzhak Rabin lost his life to an Israeli terrorist, which ruined...
That was way back in the 90s.
1995, yeah. Exactly, 4th of November 1995. Everybody in Israel remember it, like everybody in the United States remembers the assassination of John F. Kennedy. And he was committed to peace. Since then, unfortunately, on both sides of the spectrum, there were ups and downs in the efforts to bring peace. I think the state of Israel, the people of Israel, are committed to peace. And but the war...
But this military operation has been going on since, I don't know, the end of October?
It's exactly 6 months.
Exactly 6 months. So you are trying to eradicate Hamas, as you said, but in the meantime, over the past 6 months, tens of thousands of Palestinians were killed. Most of them had nothing to do with what Hamas did on the 7th of October. How can you justify that?
First of all, we are sorry for any soul. There is a proverb in the Jewish language, in the Hebrew, in the Jewish tradition, that if you lose one soul, you lose the whole universe. It is not valid only for Jews. It's valid for Christians, Muslims, etc. And we are sorry for any Palestinian victim which has no relation to the Hamas. Unfortunately, many Palestinians in Gaza do have contact with the Hamas. And Israel is trying to do its utmost. And if you compare us to other Western military forces in some wars that happened in the last decades, we were more even distinctiveness, and we try to keep the humanitarian international law yes, war are with casualties.
Yes, some have argued that this is genocide. United Nations agencies are decrying the catastrophic hunger caused by the weaponization of food. I mean, how long can this go on?
First of all, I know there are critical voices in the international community over Israel,
well.
no doubt. As a diplomat, I'm facing it every day. I mean, the definition by some of them of genocide or murder are completely incorrect. And just to illustrate it, you said about anger. I mean, we get this definition of anger. 500 trucks are entering Gaza every day.
But it's not enough, is it?
I don't know if it's not enough. I mean, I'm not sure, again, it depends who is judging, who is giving the criteria. And we appreciate very much the international assistance. I think Malta is also symbolically, for the time being, involved in some of the efforts to help the Palestinians. Myself being also ambassador to Slovenia, non-resident ambassador to Slovenia, we managed to give the green light for the Slovenian government to supply the Palestinian in Gaza through Jordan. And we are doing our utmost. We opened Ashdod port. We opened recently some land crossing. We gave the Americans the green light to have a special port.
Still, in the meantime, you're losing international support. I mean, President Biden, just a few hours ago, said that he believes that the Prime Minister, Netanyahu, is making a mistake in his handling of Gaza.
First of all, I mean, as you know, it's not a secret. And when you read the international press, we are facing a major challenge now, also with our best allies. And I'm here in Malta, and I appreciate the fact that I was managing bringing these families this week. Yes, United States, you can get this statement of the President of the United States. Yes, there is growing criticism of the Israeli government operation. But as you said and I said, I think if you want to bring real peace, you want to bring tranquility and bring back the tens of thousands of Jews that were evacuated from the south of Israel. By the way, you speak and your focus is on what's happening in the south of Israel. Yeah. Nobody speaks today about what is happening in the north of Israel. On the 8th of October, the Hezbollah...
On the border with Lebanon, right?
Exactly, the border of Lebanon. Hezbollah, it's a military organization. It's an army which is being supplied by the Iranians. By the Iranians are heavily supplied the Hamas, the Islamic Jihad, the Houthis. Malta is suffering from the Houthis because they blocked the Bab el-Mandeb Straits. And Malta,
because of the situation in the Red Sea.
And yes, as I said, people blame the war in Gaza. I don't think it's in relation to the war in Gaza, but I think Israel is fighting now its existence, 7 fronts war. But I don't want... Yeah. I don't wish Maltese citizens to be in our situation because if you will be attacked from Libya or Tunis, you will have to defend your citizens.
But don't you think that the heavy-handedness of the IDF in Gaza will breed more anti-Israeli feeling, more anti-Semitism, more terrorists will be ready to act against Israel?
First of all, there is increase of terrorism, unfortunately, since the 7th of October. But I don't think that we are to be blamed for that. Malta has hosted, you are now the chairman of the OSCE. Your Minister of Foreign Affairs was chairing this week special conference here in Malta to fight against anti-Semitism. And first of all, we are cherishing the Maltese presidency, their special conference. There were representatives from all over the world, including Jewish organizations. And I think, firstly and mostly, Malta is committed to fight anti-Semitism by not only in Malta, also in the international community. Malta has joined the IHRA for the memory of the Holocaust organization. Hopefully it will sign also for the special declarations against anti-Semitism soon. So we are encouraged by the Maltese. But coming back to your questions about the IDF, again, I think every country has the role to defend its citizens. Surely, see as much as possible to distinct between the terrorists and the citizens. But
and are you confident that the IDF is doing that, distinguishing between the terrorists and...
I can share you from my example. I was an instructor at the National Defense College, 2014. As a representative of the Foreign Ministry, one of my students was at that time the legal advisor of the IDF. Knowing him, the way he is functioning, knowing that now he is a deputy Supreme Court general attorney of the Israeli government, I know that, and also from my diplomatic experience, that we are doing our best. Yes, we made mistakes. We made mistake with this tragedy of 7 World Kitchen organization. We killed, unfortunately, 3 of our abductees. But this is war. You know, speaking about soldiers, Israeli soldiers are youngsters, are 18 years old, 19 years old. Instead of fighting for, I was also a soldier, my son was in the army. We don't want it. I mean, you are a neutral country, but you will get an attack from Libya or attack from Tunisia. What would you do? You call for NATO? You are not a member of NATO. One has to defend the country. The Jewish nation, which lost 6 million in the Holocaust, came to the state of Israel and had to defend it. And we are wishing for peace. Everybody in Israel lost many of his friends during war, during terrorist attacks. And as I said, we are sorry for any Palestinian who lost his life. I'm not in the headquarters of the IDF, but I know from the information I get that we do our utmost. And if there will be kind of investigation or kind of comparative, to compare the IDF operations vis-à-vis what happened in Afghanistan, in Iraq.
You're trying also to obtain the release of the hostages, exactly. The remaining hostages in Gaza, in Hamas hands. Would that suffice? Would that be enough for the military operation to end in Gaza?
First of all, release of the hostages, and that was the main message. When they met your prime minister, you met foreign minister, the minister of internal security, parliament, etc., the message, which I think, again, it's up to you politicians to judge, was release with no condition of the hostages. Nobody, no country, no nation would allow 240 of its citizens, children, babies, women, were raped on the 7th of October. It was proved by a special committee of the United Nations. Nobody would allow it to continue. I think the linkage, to put any linkage between release of the abductees and ceasefire, stopping the war, is not the right one. Nobody wants to have a war. Nobody wants to continue the war. I wish that tomorrow the war will be over, the Hamas will be eradicated, Iran will not be allowed to develop military nuclear capability. But unfortunately, we don't see it.
But inside Israel, there's a growing feeling of opposition to the way the government has conducted itself in the handling of the release of hostages. No, it's not doing enough.
It's not a secret. I mean, we are a free democracy. You read our papers, you see the demonstration every weekend. As a diplomat, I'm not going to deny this is the reality, but the reality of a strong democracy. The fact that you see people in the street, people just came from the reservists, from Gaza, from Lebanon. They are not happy, some of them, from what the policies of the government. But I think there is a consensus in Israel about the abductees. The fact, when I came with the abductees this week, my first message to them, say whatever you wish. If you have criticism to ABC, don't worry. For us and for you is first, most important thing is to release the abductees. Explain to your Maltese Prime Minister, explain to the Speaker. When Malta is now the presidency of the Security Council, we expect Malta to express loudly and strongly this message, no matter or whatever other issue, let it be the Palestinian statehood, Palestinian upgrading. Release of hostages is a moral decree which has no relation to other issues.
The Australian Foreign Minister, Penny Wong, a couple of hours ago said that Australia is considering recognizing a Palestinian state because she says a pathway out of the endless cycle of violence can only come with the recognition of a Palestinian state, alongside the state of Israel, of course. How would you react to that? Is the two-state solution viable, in other words?
My personal opinion that in the end of the day, we will have to come to peace with the Palestinians. Call it two-state solution, call it whatever mechanism. You know, Abba Evan, our legendary foreign minister, has stated a few times, the Palestinians never missed an opportunity to miss an opportunity. The offer that was given to them by Rabin, as I said, by Ehud Olmert, by Ehud Barak, was almost the moon. They were never ready to compromise. I do hope, again, after recovering from this tragic war, for both sides, by the way, the scalps are on the Palestinian side, on their leadership. The Palestinian leadership in the West Bank will have to change, will have to reform. To have peace, you need leadership. On both sides. I mean, I'm not saying that our leadership is immune of mistakes. So I am I have to be cautiously optimistic because if I would be pessimistic, I could not live in the state of Israel.
What future for Gaza? After all this hopefully comes to the end sooner rather than later. What future for Gaza?
I think the future of Gaza is, I hope Gaza one day will become Singapore. That was a dream that even late Prime Minister Bill said. Seeing what is happening in Gaza, one has to be quite cautious about it. But the future of Gaza is not isolated. It has to be part of the future of the wider Middle East. I hope that one day we will have peace, not only with the Gulf countries, not only with Egypt, not only with Jordan, but also with Saudi Arabia. I hope that at the end of the day we will be able to recover from this war, to come to peace with all our neighbors, and the Palestinians will be part of this peace, including Gaza.
Ambassador Boker, thank you very much for being on our show.
Thank you, it's my pleasure.
Dak kien l-Ambaxxatur ta' Iżrael għal Malta Zeev Boker, il-programm RASimbRAS kull jum bit-tnejn ġimgħa fit-3 ta' war nofsinhar fis-6 ta' filgħaxija u anke ssibuna fuq YouTube. Grazzi tal-li segwejtuna.